Hey guys, it's Emily from Quilt 101. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make our super cute Halloween tote bags. These can be used for trick-or-treating. They can be used as just kind of like reusable grocery bags or just everyday tote bags. I think they're super cute for trick-or-treating. So go ahead and stay tuned and watch how we make these. These Halloween tote bags come in our pre-cut quilt kits. So one of our kits will give you enough fabric to make 3 complete tote bags. So you will get these panels, these cute colorful panels. Here we go. So there's 6 of them in each kit. So what you'll do is you'll pair them up. And so that way you'll have 3 sets. How cute. And our pre-cut kits include everything you need to make these bags. It does not include batting though. So if you're wanting to quilt these, you'll have to supply your own batting. And I would just use batting scraps that you have at home or fusible batting, which works really well too. And that's what I use in the tutorial. But normal batting that you just spray base will work just fine. I'll kind of show you the difference. So here's a quilted one. Look how cute that quilted texture adds to it. Here is another quilted, excuse me, another quilted look. And then this one, I did not use any batting and it's just a really simple bag. And these do include lining as well. Just to show you, here's the finished size of the tote bag. It finishes, I believe, at 13.5 by 16.5. So it's honestly just a perfect size tote bag. Can hold plenty of candy or plenty of whatever goodies. This lining is actually different. Let me actually show you. So this is what the kit looks like. So we have strapping, we have the Halloween panels, and this is the backing that's going to come in each kit. Look how cute that is. And it'll also come with a paper pattern as well. I honestly think it'll be easier to make these by just following me here on this video. So just remember that if you get lost with the pattern at all, just come back to this video and hopefully that'll help clear up any confusion you have about these bags. So let's go ahead and get started on making these Halloween tote bags. So pretty. So I am quilting this this tote bag. Look how cute this fabric is. So I've gone through and I have paired up all of the panels. So, and this one, like I said, I'm going to be quilting. So I'm going to be adding batting to this. And I actually have this fusible batting. I think is easier. You can totally just use scrap batting you have laying around and you would just baste it. But I like to cut my binding, or not my binding, my batting. I like to cut it a 1/4 inch shorter on all the ends. So that way, whenever you go to sew it, there's not as much bulk around the corners. So this panel measures 14 by 17, I believe. So I cut this I cut the batting 13.5 by 16.5. So that way there's a 1/4 inch short on all the sides of the batting. And then with this fusible batting, I find it's best to spray it and to get steam on it. And then I just kind of hold it down. And because this fusible batting has like a glue on one side, and so you need high heat on your iron, and then you just kind of press it down, and maybe for like 10 seconds or so on each spot, just for the glue to melt and fuse to the other side. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and iron this, and so these are fused together. But like I said, you can easily just spray baste using like batting scraps you have at home. So do whatever you have on hand. So now that I have the batting basted or fused together, I'm going to quilt, and I'm just doing straight line quilting. Oh, my sewing foot's turned around. Let me get that. Come on. Okay, and I'm just going to go, I'm doing straight line quilting on this. I increased my stitch length. It's at a 4.5. I personally like the look of bigger stitches, but do whatever you prefer. And then I'm just going to kind of chain quilt these. So I'm just attaching this one right next to it. All right, trim this thread, and then I'm just going to repeat this all the way down. And what's nice about small projects like this is it goes together really quickly. I love it. So I'm just going to continue going down. The next step that we're going to do is just tack the strapping down. So you will get pre-cut strapping in here too. And what we're going to do is, where's my pen? First, oh, here it's on the floor. All right, first I'm going to get my pen and I'm just going to grab a little ruler. And what I'm going to do is from the end, so I'm on the top of the bag, I'm going to go on the end and I'm going to measure just 4 inches in and I'm going to place a mark. And I'm going to go to the other side, 4 inches in, place a little mark. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the strapping. I don't know. Oh, hopefully you can see that okay. So there's my little marks right there. So now I am going to take the strapping and then here's the mark and I'm going to line that up with the edge of the strapping. So the strapping's on the outside where that mark is. And I'm actually going to put it up just maybe 1/8 of an inch. Put it above just about 1/8 of an inch, and that's gonna just make it so it gets a little bit more of a secure, makes it a little bit more secure. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and I am just going to top stitch right along here. And I have already done it to this other side. So you can see what it looks like. So I just went in about 1/4 inch from where the tote bag lining is, and I just stitched right across it. So I'm just gonna go do that to this top. Next, we're going to take the lining. Look how cute that lining is. And we are going to, I'm gonna make sure that it is, so if it goes this way and it flips back, is that gonna be, yes. That'll be right. All right, want to make sure that that's going in the direction it's supposed to. So I'm just gonna put these right sides together. Now, whenever you quilt, if you end up quilting the top, this lining, because quilting can kind of like scrunch things up, the lining might be a little bit big, but just kind of just center it as best you can. It's honestly not a big deal whenever, whenever this is done. You won't even notice if it's just a smidge bigger than the top. But I'm just gonna kind of center this on here and I'm just gonna clip along the edge. And now I'm just gonna go in 1/4 of an inch and just top stitch right along this edge. And then this is what it will look like. This is the other side. And so that way, whenever you go to flip it up, we have the top part of our tote bag. So I am actually going to just go do that to the other side, and then I'm going to meet you at the iron because we're going to need to top stitch this top. So this next part, I've got to be super careful because I'm using polypropylene strapping and it melts if you get it hot. So just have to be super, super careful whenever you're ironing this. And you totally can. So I'm just going to take this lining and fold it back. And then avoiding the strap, I am just going to, as much as I can, kind of tuck this lining behind it. You don't want too much popping out. There we go. And we're just going to give it a quick press. Like I said, avoid the strapping because it will melt from your iron. Ask me how I learned that because the other side, I just made that mistake and I will show you. All right, so now we're just going to iron. All right, and now we are going to go top stitch. Oh, those little, oops, that stitching's come out. I need to fix that. But we're gonna go top stitch just right along here. And that's just going to secure everything, and so the lining isn't getting in the way of things. So we have the two fronts that are pieced together. Look how good they're looking. And I will show you right here if you can see. That's where I accidentally melted the strapping, if you can see it. That was totally my bad. I was not even thinking. So learn from my mistake. Just make sure not to iron the strapping. So I am actually, we now need to attach these two sides, but I'm just gonna clean things up. So I'm laying this down, and because I quilted this top, quilting just naturally kind of makes things a little wonky, and it's with this project, you guys, it's totally fine. It's a pretty forgiving tote bag. So you can see, I don't know if you can see, but the lining pokes out just a little bit over on this side and over on this side. So I am just going to quickly just trim off this extra lining, with quilting, and especially whenever you're sewing tote bags, you just want to reduce bulk as much as possible. And so I am just going to trim that just to keep everything nice and even. Let's see if this one, just a little bit. Just a little bit. If you don't do the quilting on it, you shouldn't have this issue. But I'm just gonna trim. I mean, it's literally maybe an eighth, not even an eighth of an inch, maybe even a 16th in some parts. It's just a teeny bit. All right, we got those nice and cleaned up. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna make some room, and I'm actually going to back you out a little bit so you can see what I am doing. So now I am going to open up this tote bag. So we have the lining on one side and the quilted top on the other, and it is right sides up. So now I am taking the other side, and I am just lining the tops together and flipping over the lining. It can get a little wonky with the strapping. It gets a little bulky, but it's fine. And now we're just going to line things up. So I am going to first start on this side where we have the folds right here. I'm gonna line up these edges. So here's like the top. I'm gonna line up those edges first, and I'm just going to clip them into place. Do the same thing on this side, because those are really the only seams where it matters if they line up. All right, got that clip, so those aren't going anywhere. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go around and clip the tops together and the linings together. And I just kind of go every 6 inches or so. And then on these corners, just make sure that the corners are lined up and they match. So far, so good. All right, and now we're gonna go and do the same thing over here on the lining. The most important part about this step is that we need to make sure to leave a gap to turn this right side out at the end. And I have a fun little tip to remind you where to start and stop. A follower gave me this tip a while ago, and I've used it ever since. I just think it's so smart. Go on. Okay. I'm gonna put the gap down here on the bottom. First, I'm just gonna quickly clip this side together. Oops, forgot that one didn't catch the bottom. Yeah, the strapping's a little bulky under there, but it's no big deal. This is all, you just keep squaring things up and it will work out. I promise. Okay, cannot catch that bottom. There we go. All right, so for the bottom, the tip that I got is to grab, I use clips. So I'm gonna grab a red clip and a green clip. So you might know where I'm going. So we're gonna do red or green for go and red for stop. So I'm gonna put my green one, my green clip, line up that corner, right here. Come on. This mat underneath is a little slippery, so it's having a hard time gripping the stuff underneath. Then I'm gonna put the red one right here. And so this way I'll remember to stop. And you wanna make that gap about 6 inches. Give yourself more room than you think. All right, I've got everything clipped together. I have this gap right here that I'm gonna make sure not to sew together. So now I'm just gonna go to the sewing machine and I'm gonna sew, starting with this green clip, I'm gonna sew about a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit larger than a 1/4 inch around the entire perimeter. And then just make sure that with these straps that you're not sewing onto those, because you don't want to sew over those, that would be bad. Now here is the fun part where we get to turn it out. So here is the hole that we left whenever we sewed around the perimeter. And now we're just gonna reach through that hole and we're going to grab the inside and we're just gonna pull it out. And this is where it really starts to come together. All right, we're just gonna get into these corners and press them out. And if you want, you can trim those corners, just that little extra fabric, I forgot to do that. If you want to have like crisper corners on the sides, you can absolutely trim those before you turn it right side out. But I'm good with that. All right, and now we're going to, okay, now that we have that turned right side out, the last thing we need to do before this tote bag is completely finished is we need to close up this inside. So I'm actually going to go through, here's the lining. I'm just going to turn out those corners, turn out all those ends. So now the last thing we have to do is we just need to close this lining. And so how I do that, now you guys, I'm kind of a lazy bag maker, and like this is the lining that's on the inside. No, and it's gonna be on the very bottom. No one is ever gonna see. There are like more official ways how to close these, but what I like to do is I just go through and zigzag it to closed. And you can do it with like a matching thread, so that way it conceals it better. But like I said, this is just gonna be in the lining on the inside of the bag. No one's ever gonna see it. So I'm just gonna stick with the white thread that I already have on my machine. And I'm just going to zigzag right here on the opening, make sure that that stays shut, and I'll show you what that looks like. So here is the zigzag that I did. It's not the prettiest thing, but it works. My thread got a little stuck right there, but I did back stitch at the start and finish. So now what we do is we just stuff this lining in the bag. Just kind of get those corners in. You kind of have to play with them a little bit so the corners kind of turn the right way. And oh my goodness, the Halloween or trick-or-treat bags are now completely done. Oh my gosh, you guys, look how cute this is. So we have this gorgeous, the Halloween panel on the outside. And then we've got that fun strapping, and then we have the gorgeous lining inside as well. And now your bag is completely done. It is ready to take trick-or-treating or to use as a grocery bag or to use for whatever odds and ends you want. You can do this for whatever season with whatever fabric you want. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And then just leave any comments if you have any questions, and I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. Hopefully you learned something new and it gives you the confidence on how to make these tote bags yourself. These tote bag pre-cut quilt kits are available at Quilt 101 while supplies last. So head on over to claim one of these bags, and we'll see you next time. So these tote bags come in a pre-cut quilt kit. Oh, hi, Luna, come here. Luna, hi, come here, give me hugs. Oh, come here, walk over here. There we go. Say hello to everyone. Being a lazy girl today? Being a lazy girl? She's the cutest. What do you think about these tote bags, huh? They're pretty cute. Oh, you're the best. Mommy's gotta get back to work though, okay? Mommy's gotta get back to work. I love you. We'll play later, okay?